Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. This is episode 546 of The Daily Dope. So if this is your first time tuning in, check out the show. Let me point out, this is very, very casual. We're just hanging out, talking about the latest tabletop gaming news. It is certainly not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. So we're mainly talking about board games, role-playing games, card games, miniatures games. You name it, if it's going on your tabletop, within reason, we're talking about it here on the show. Every once in a while, we'll talk a little PC gaming as well as pop culture also. So I do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give the video a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live, Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also tell you when I upload my other videos, such as my recent interview with my friend Dominic McDowell over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, should point out, because this is a live stream, that means chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So I see the Madman is first out the gate saying hello in chat. Good to see you, Madman. We missed you yesterday. I have to assume you must have been doing some gaming. Even though I know every other Wednesday is the Madman's game night. I believe it's either D&D or Savage Worlds. I don't know exactly the Madman's schedule on his role-playing games. But I do know that every other Wednesday, we don't expect to see the Madman because he's gaming. Anyway, so if you saw last night's episode, I showed off some items that arrived from Worthington Publishing. So once again, Crusader Kingdoms is one of the releases, and French and Indian War is the other release that's down here right now. They also sent along Napoleon Returns 1815. I got to play that last night. Interesting. So we are going to play it at least one or two more times before I do my review. I tend to try to do 3 playthroughs of a game before I do a review. Unless it's an awful game, then I don't. But even if it's an awful game, I will play it twice, because sometimes a game that doesn't seem very good, it turns out, not terms, turns. Let's try English tonight, Jeff. It turns out that maybe I've misunderstood something in the rules, or somebody else has taken it on themselves to study the rules to be able to explain it. Maybe they didn't figure it out. So I always try to play it at least twice, even if it's bad. But if it's a lousy game, I don't know. It doesn't get a third play. And usually lousy games don't get reviews either, because I don't have time to be wasted. So we did get to play that. So that was very cool. Once again, if you missed yesterday's show, my nephew Cameron has enlisted in the Air National Guard. So right after the show, I popped over there for a little bit of a little celebration, a little bit of dinner. And that's when we had the opportunity to play Napoleon Returns 1815. So no enemies here. That's right. It is Dan Pancaldi popping into chat. Good to see you, Dan. Welcome aboard. So what other things? Actually, there is going to be something that my final news piece has got me kind of curious about. And we will discuss that after we finish up with the news. But I've got a good batch of news tonight, a nice fresh batch of tabletop gaming news. And we have a big story today. And I know there are a lot of people out there who are going to be very, very excited by this. Many of them probably have already seen the news. But today, Avalon Hill and Hasbro announced the return of the classic board game Hero Quest. I've got the dope. Deep inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. This is Hero Quest, the fantasy adventure game where winning means mastering the art of combat and magic. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. It's like, yeah, I think I would be. So, this is actually being crowdfunded on Hasbro Pulse. There are a few different tiers, so a couple, I should say, different tiers. So let me explain each of these. You have the Heroic tier, which includes the core Hero Quest game system, featuring 71 highly detailed character and furniture miniatures, as well as 4 bonus hero miniatures, and 1 exclusive miniature only available during this HasLab campaign. HasLab is actually the crowdfunding platform. Hasbro Pulse is where the actual project is located. It's bizarre. Plus, we even have the web address that I'm sharing right there, heroquest.avalonhill.com. So that is the Heroic tier. The Mythic tier includes the Heroic tier offer, featuring those 71 highly detailed character and furniture miniatures, as well as those bonus heroes and the exclusive mini. It also includes 2 game expansions, 2 more exclusive figures, and all available unlocks. Yes, there are stretch goals, although they do not call them stretch goals in this project. So the 2 expansions are Return of the Witch Lord. The Witch Lord lives. His foul sorcery has protected him from the power of the Spirit Blade. You must move fast if you are to stop him from raising a legion of undead. Damn you, Witch Lord! Then there's Keller's Keep. Do you dare delve into the depths of Keller's Keep, crawling with sinister monsters and menacing goblins? Are you brave enough to make the journey? The first Hero Quest expansion features more miniatures for your collection, as well as 10 new epic adventures to test the power of your heroes. Yes, it is the first expansion, but they're both included at the Mythic tier, so I didn't have to worry about what order I was sharing those on. So the Madman says they completely lost the video and it just came back. Not sure what happened. I got to be honest, I am seeing some drop frames tonight. So it's not too bad, but I am seeing some drop frames, which, once again, what the... I thought we had this all figured out. Now, let me go in here. I want to see something. I want to check something here just to make sure. Yeah, it's doing the right encoder. weird. But yes, we are bouncing all over the place as far as our bit rate. This is weird. All right, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Hopefully it's just a hiccup. Anyway, as I see, Flaming Heron has arrived in chat as well. All right, anyway, so I'm talking about this Hero Quest crowdfunding project. There is a video discussing the new Hero Quest, which I swear it looks as if we've got the same artwork as the original game. I am not an expert on Hero Quest, so by all means, if it is, let me know. But we are going to jump in and take a quick peek at the new video. It's a couple of minutes long, and it'll give you a better feel for Hero Quest.
Heed well my words, for I am Mentor, guardian of Lortone. I come with great warnings. For decades, the shadows were gone. But just as darkness follows light, shadows have a way of returning. Many centuries ago, Zargon was my apprentice. He worked hard and learned quickly, but impatience devoured him. He desired to learn the ancient and dangerous secrets of dread magic. Once he learned these secrets, he fled. When I found him, he was greatly changed. He pledged his allegiance to the dread forces of evil, using magic as a shortcut to unlimited power. After a lengthy battle, he retreated to the northern Dread Wastes. There, he strengthened his forces, and once again, prepares for war. Zargon has returned, but light always follows darkness, and the four of you hold the key to saving the realm. The barbarian, the mightiest of warriors. The wizard, the wielder of arcane power. The dwarf, resilient fighter and expert craftsman. The elf, master of both the sword and magic. Your quest is to put an end to Zargon's reign of evil once and for all. The quest is calling. Hero Quest. The quest is calling.
You can pledge for the Heroic Edition of Hero Quest for $99.99. Or you can go with the Mythic Edition, which includes those two expansions I previously mentioned. And you can go for that for a $149 pledge. This is through November 6th. I have not seen any word on an expected delivery date. So, and I believe the goal for HasLab is $1 million. I believe that is the goal that they're going for, but the special, they call them unlocks, but they're stretch goals. I think the stretch goals don't kick in until, I swear I thought I saw $1.2 million. So, Malwinius from York has arrived. So has a Gray Day. A Gray Day is in chat as well. Good to see everybody. A Gray Day actually shot me an email today with some news items, but I had already shared this news item this morning. Because, funny enough, now I thought this was kind of funny. We'll get back to the news in just a second. So this morning, I'm taking a look at what's kind of floating out there as far as the Hero Quest. This is before the announcement. This is when we still had the countdown clock going. So I had the feeling that they were probably, because we didn't know if there was actually, if they were going to announce that, yes, they're going to bring Hero Quest back, or if this was just going to be some sort of like an app game or, something goofy, right? Because you never know. You never know what Hasbro is going to do with some of these IPs that they own. So I went online and I went on Twitter and I said, okay, so I'm going to make my prediction here. I'm predicting that Avalon Hill and Hasbro are going to announce Hero Quest is back, and they're going to fund it through their HasLabs. And I was right on the money. I was like, what? I was like, since when am I ever correct on these guesses? Sometimes I'm close on some things, but no, I was right on the money. I was like, holy cow. So Grade A says they're surprised they have their own Kickstarter clone. Yeah, I know, but they've had it out for a while. And their Hasbro Pulse is a website that it's kind of unusual too. It's not just a regular Hasbro website. It's I would say it's more niche kind of items. So Grade A is curious how many other Avalon Hill games are going to get their own Kickstarter. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably not as many as we would like to see. And the reality is, Hero Quest wasn't an Avalon Hill game. So, I don't know. Wasn't Hero Quest originally, was that Milton Bradley? Because I know it was a partnership. So here's a bizarre thing. And yes, we will get back to the news in a minute. But there are a lot of people who are super pumped about this. So if I remember correctly, maybe it was Hasbro, but for some strange reason, I was thinking Milton Bradley. But it was in conjunction with Games Workshop. And was it, 88, 89 is when it came out? So, I mean, that was a point in time where, yeah, you had role-playing games and things like that, but you didn't have the kind of, it wasn't the golden age of board games, it's for certain. Right? We had, Avalon Hill was pretty much the big board game company for like adults, not kids. We're not talking Hi-Ho Cherry-O, stuff like that. Hi-Ho Cherry-O! I had that game as a little kid. So, I thought it was Games Workshop had partnered up. Here's the other thing. I don't know if they can actually sell this outside the U.S. as Hero Quest, because I think somebody else owns the copyright on that title or trademark or whatever. So Melwinia says they have 2 Avalon Hill games, Wooden Men and Iron Ships and Enemy in Sight. I only have 3. I've had a bunch over the years, but I actually picked some up on the secondary market and was like, wow, boy, I'm telling you, I must have been looking through rose-colored glasses with some of them. So I still have Panzer Leader, what is it? Air Force Leader? Where are they? Where do I have them hidden? I rearranged the games in here. Oh, Flight Leader, that's it. And Wizard's Quest, which Wizard's Quest is bizarre. So, a Grade A says Hasbro owns the copyright to the original Hero Quest board game, its rulebook, its miniatures, the board, and so on. But after it went out of print, the Hero Quest trademark was, yes, I knew this, the trademark lapsed. So, and Chaosium founder Greg Stafford took up the Hero Quest trademark. Right, exactly, for a role-playing game. So here's the funny thing, though. Piggybacking on that Chaosium story about Greg Stafford. So when Milton Bradley and Games Workshop teamed up to do Hero Quest, RuneQuest had been out for a long time. And Greg Stafford and the team at Chaosium were really surprised that they went with the title Hero Quest, because that was a game that was in development for a long time at Chaosium, and I think there were people in the know over at Milton Bradley who knew about it. So Great A's kind of giving us the story of what happened after that copyright lapsed, the trademark lapsed, whatever you want to consider it. But there is a story before that with Greg Stafford and Chaosium. So that it actually when HeroQuest came out. Last thing I wanted to mention was yesterday I was talking about if it turned out that the announcement today was for HeroQuest and that they were going to produce, it looks like it's kind of the same. Looks like it's kind of the same game. I would hope not. I would hope that it's been beefed up a little bit, brought, to the 21st century. So I said, hey, I had this inside story about somebody who was trying to purchase HeroQuest. And and I said, hey, if it turns out that's what they're announcing, I'll share that story with you because it was supposed to be off the record. About 10 minutes after I finished up the stream, I realized it was HeroScape, not HeroQuest. So there's a piece of fuzz on the mic here. So it's like, sorry, gang. I don't actually have like an inside baseball story for HeroQuest. I would have if they were announcing HeroScape. All right, let's jump back into the news because there is a big Kickstarter that launched today. Earlier today, I think it was already at about 1,000% funded, I think. Taking a guess. Jorge Rodriguez has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Jorge. Jorge's early. Or actually, I've been pontificating about HeroQuest for so long. We're not that far into the news. What can I tell you? So, today saw Pandasaurus Games launch a Kickstarter for 2 new games. That's right, 2. Not 1, but 2. And I've got the dope on both Dinosaur World and Dinosaur Island. Roar and right. First up, Dinosaur World. Introducing Dinosaur World. Chaotic throngs of amusement park, adrenaline junkies, and crafty hoodlums have long been silent. The dream of billion-dollar dinosaur theme parks came crashing to a halt after waves of class action lawsuits pushed the likes of Lewis Leviathan and Panda Gen into bankruptcy and permanent closures. I believe this is part of their whole Dino-verse, so I think they're utilizing some backgrounds from some of the other dinosaur games they do. As the Technicolor dreams of the 90s crest into a new decade, so too did our fair dinosaur theme parks. It's now the early aughts, iPods on everybody, and the world is ready for a new set of upstarts and young entrepreneurs. These wide-eyed and bushy-tailed companies are eager to bring dinosaurs back to the world once again, this time without the pesky issues of consistent and ever-enumerating fatalities like the parks of old. It's up to you, our new park leaders, to create a world so toxically fun and enticing that the entire world will line up to get inside. The new Dinosaur World is an archipelago of stunning islands. Directors must arrange things in the best path for your spiffy new park jeeps to plunder the depths of fun. Create brand new dinosaurs from DNA slices. Visit new attractions that make the clever grill seem like a distant eye roll. In Dinosaur World, where and how you lay out your park matters. You'll build routes for Jeeps to drive on and will want to hire the correct worker type for the attractions your Jeep visits. This is a whole new park and a completely different experience. Route building, program movement, adjacency bonuses for buildings that make sense next to each other, and of course, tons of new dinosaur types. But please make sure and stay true to your promise to keep fatalities at bay. You know what happened to the last owners. We wouldn't want that to happen to a bright mind like yourself. Dinosaur World is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in 1 to 2 hours. The other game that's part of this Kickstarter is Dinosaur Island Roar and Right. In the tradition of Duelosaur Island, we would be remiss if we failed to deliver double the Dino Island universe fun and fatalities. Enter Dinosaur Island Roar and Right. Experience roll and write fans and newbies to the genre are in for a galactic treat with the first ever roll and write set in the bustling chaos of Dinosaur Island, glistening in all its 90s glory. If you were expecting a 20-minute long throwaway game for between titles, look elsewhere. This game packs a punch. A big punch. It's a meaty roll and write, more similar to games like Oh So Clever. I know they gave me the German, but it's Oh So Clever, the Stronghold game release here in the US, that players can really dig into. Dinosaur Island Roar and Right is a unique game in which players draft dice and then use those drafted dice as workers in a worker placement phase. Then a fun polyomino puzzle ensues as you try and fit all your attractions and dinosaurs into your park, while buildings, roads, and routes to the exits for bonus points. Should have been while building, not buildings, roads and routes to the exits for bonus points. You are still making dinosaurs, hiring specialists, and trying to create the most exciting park as you can, keeping it moderately safe at least. Each game, the specialists available to hire will be different, as will these special buildings that you can fit into your park. This means 100% of the games will be completely unique and different, allowing for infinite replayability. So there is a Kickstarter video that includes both of these games. And in full disclosure, I actually have edited this video because the video was over 5 minutes long, and I see we're hitting another hiccup with our frame rates here. Let me jump in here. Let's try one other thing. This is weird because we were fine for about a week. We had the correct driver setup, the correct encoding. Everything was sweet. Now suddenly tonight we're dropping frames again. Anyway, so I was saying I have edited this video because it was over 5 minutes long, and the first 3 minutes are simply different reviewers out there goofing off. To be honest, I don't know why anybody creates Kickstarter videos like that, because it was telling you really nothing about the game itself. And it was one of these videos where the only people who think it's entertaining are the people who are in it and who shot it. So I trimmed all that out because we want to see what's going on with the game. And to be honest, if I showed you 3 minutes of that, I'd have people tuning out. Of 3 minutes of people playing grab ass, you'd been like, what the hell is this? All right, so let's jump on into my edited version of the Kickstarter video.
Hi, I'm Molly Wardlaw.
And I'm Nathan McNair.
We are the owners of Pandasaurus Games, and we are here to tell you we're going back to the island.
We have two new standalone games in the Dinosaur Island universe, Dinosaur World and Dinosaur Island Roar and Right.
The parks in Dinosaur Island have been closed for nearly a decade after waves of class action lawsuits put the old parks out of business permanently.
But life finds a way. In the early aughts, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed new companies were lining up to bring dinosaurs back to the world. And this time maybe guest safety would be a priority?
These parks are an archipelago of stunning islands. You'll need to arrange the attractions in your park in just the right order for your spiffy new jeeples to plunder the depths of fun.
And while a lot of your favorite dinosaurs will be returning, you'll need your DNA dice to create brand new dinosaurs with new unique ways to score and unique costs for each type.
This is a whole new park. route building, program movement, adjacency bonuses. It may feel familiar to Dinosaur Island players, but this is a completely new game. Oh, and I hear you like Dino Meeples.
How about full-colored heat transfer artwork on your Dino Meeples? Roar!
I thought we discussed not doing that bit.
And don't forget Dinosaur Island Roar and Write, a brand new standalone roll and write game in the Dinosaur Island universe.
Yep, Dinosaur Island Roar and Write is a meaty gamer's game entry into the roll and write universe.
With familiar mechanics from the Dinosaur Island base game, like hiring specialists, building attractions, making dinosaurs, and, you know, dead guests.
But with lots of twist and engine building elements. The game forces you to squeeze all of these attractions onto your island.
Thanks so much for watching the video, and be sure to check out the campaign to see all the amazing benefits of backing now.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your time. We couldn't do this without y'all. And whether you're a Dino Island newbie or you're one of our beloved diehards, we can't wait for you to enter this world.
See you in the comments.
You can reserve a copy of Dinosaur World for a $70 pledge. You can reserve Dinosaur Island Roar and Write for a $30 pledge, or you can score both for a $95 pledge through October 16th. Expected delivery is July of next year. So both these games do look really cool. And just because I edited the video, that's not any indication that I don't think the games look like they're good. That should be your focus of your video when you're, looking to promote your game. So I see Dan from No Enemies Here has to rock out. So catch you later, Dan. Thanks for popping in. See you next time. So Malwinia says, is the stream down? So I am not showing that we lost the connection at all. I gotta say, I would not be surprised if this is a YouTube problem, because what we see is, like, for an example, I'll have periods where I can't get the stats on videos and things like that. So I don't know. So yeah, so Melwinia says YouTube showed an error window. I got to be honest. I think it could be a YouTube thing, because I don't know. Do not know. We have dropped frames, but like I said, sometimes I think it has something to do with YouTube being overwhelmed or something like that, that it's just, they're dropping the frames on their end. So I don't know. We will find out. So Mel Innes was talking about Halloween brings Last Night on Earth to the table. Yes, I was going to say Elliot Miller, my best friend, he owns that. He plays that quite a bit. I actually have never played it. So he enjoys it. He did the review for it back in the day. All right, so John Bogle has joined us in chat as well. All right, moving right along, let's talk about some role-playing game news, because there is a new Call of Cthulhu adventure. It's available through Chaosium's Miskatonic repository. And here's the dope on Time of the Serpent. Time of the Serpent is set in the urban depths of 1920s Chicago. The investigators are quickly caught up in a grisly double murder at a local speakeasy called The Kiss. With little time to act, the investigators must dive into the dark and blood-filled world of Chicago's meatpacking industry to determine who killed the two men and why. As the mud and muck grows, the investigators slowly sink deeper into the mystery about the murdered men's employer and the chilling truth about what slithers at night in the Chicago Union stockyards. Time of the Serpent is a 65-page scenario with original art, printable player handouts, 10 audio handouts for the keeper, that's something new, and a new mythos creature. You can score this 65-page PDF at DriveThruRPG for $8. Nice. Always, whenever I run across new Call of Cthulhu stuff, I always try to bring it to you. even if it's not directly from Chaosium Inc. Thus why we'll share like Stygian Fox stuff when I run across new releases from them, because I'm a big Lovecraftian fan. So this could be pretty cool. Plus, it's Chicago. How could I pass up on that, right? I live just outside Chicago. I grew up in the city. I was born and raised there. So could be pretty interesting. All right, so my last news piece, now available in print, is the collector's edition of Rise of the Drow 5e from AAW Games. I've got the dope. Tonight, a ceremony of light is taking place on the surface. Meanwhile, a world away in the city of spiders, a drow matron solidifies a pact with soul-consuming entities who require great sacrifices in trade for unimaginable power. Drow eyes turn to the surface. This book contains a mega adventure and setting, taking characters across the surface and into the depths of the world. Adventurers will meet unique denizens, battle horrors of the underworld, explore epic locations, and fight to stop the rise of the drow. There are adventures to be conquered, cities to explore, unique locales to discover, and so much more. It includes underworld spells and domains. There's an underworld bestiary, as well as rules and expansion for the underworld. There is a quick video. This did have successful Kickstarters, so I'm going to share the video from that to give you a better idea. So let's take a peek. The 554-page full-color hardcover, yes, you heard me right, 554 pages, is available for $99.99. You can grab the PDF over at DriveThru RPG for $69.99. I know, I'm sure people are like, whoa, holy cow. It is 554 pages. I reviewed Rise of the Drow. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. I think it was for first edition Pathfinder, if I remember correctly. This is at least 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, because I actually reviewed the PDF. And I'm telling you, it is packed with adventure. It is just loaded with goodies. So, and of course, now this is the collector's edition. I'm sure everything's been, cranked up to 11 on this. So I have to laugh because the video showed the spiders going across the screen. I'll tell you what, my best friend, Elliot Miller, as soon as the spiders came out, that'd have been the end of that. Been like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with this video. Because he hates spiders. Yes, a Great A says it is Adventure Week Games. Yes, that is correct. That is who I mentioned in the news piece. But the website to order the book is drow5e.com. So this is where the special collector's edition is located. And of course, as I mentioned, you got Drive-Thru RPG. So it's available at Drive-Thru RPG. So is the Time of the Serpent for Call of Cthulhu. So let me once again remind you that the Gaming Gang, thus the Daily Dope, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. A really small portion of that sale, but all those little dimes and nickels and quotas, they all add up, and they really, really do help keep the Gaming Gang around. So I really appreciate everyone out there who uses those links. Really, really does help out. All right. Anyway, so I had mentioned early in the show, most of you in chat right now missed this, but I had mentioned that the last news item was going to kind of lead me into a kind of a question I've got. Is there some discussion about the drow? Jorge's making some wise ass cracks about the drow. And Melwinius is pointing out that there is a swords and wizardry humble bundle that is out there from Frog God Games. I do have that down as a news piece coming up later this week. I wasn't sure how much time was left on it, but I got to be honest, I have all my news for tomorrow already done. I left one slot open in case something pops up that's like, oh, wow, I need to include this. But I have been doing my best to kind of stay ahead of the curve as far as so I'm not like searching around to try to find that last news piece to get me 5 for the show. Sometimes there's more than 5, but I try to make sure that there's at least 5. So anyway, Rise of the Drow, it's 554 pages. It is jam-packed with content. And there's enough material in there for years of role-playing. So here's my question. And I think I know the answer, but I might not. So when I was growing up, when role-playing games were fairly new, I recall that when you would create a character and you'd play through all different adventures, unless they got killed off. And then, if it was a fantasy game and they got killed off, well, maybe you got resurrected at some point. But everybody they would have their character and they would look to, play that character for years. I'll give you a great example. Elliot's character in Call of Cthulhu was an author. I've mentioned this before a couple of times. I haven't mentioned it a lot. It's like people aren't out there going, oh, here we go. He's talking about Elliot's character in Call of Cthulhu again. He was an author, and he was kind of like a Stephen King-ish sort of author named Anthony Piers, which Piers Anthony at the time was his favorite author. So that's where he got that name from. And then my buddy Ed, his character's name was Stephen Gruber, and he was a parapsychologist. Well, they played through a bunch of different adventures, all different adventures. They went through Masks of Nyarlathotep. That was the big campaign, but there were other adventures that they went through as well. And that's how players were. We were always like, oh, I got to have I got to have Bobo the Barbarian. Nowadays, I don't think players look at role-playing games the same way as we did, at least their characters, back in the day. And that's why you'll see all of these like adventure paths. For an example, from Paizo, let's take a look at, say, Pathfinder. So you'll have these adventure paths, and they're usually the 6 chapters, right? And you're going from first level to, it might be 12th, it might be 14th. I believe the one now, I think the Agents of Edgewatch takes you up to 20th level. But then the next adventure path comes along and you're expected to just create brand new characters. And it's kind of funny. I think gamers these days are more with, yeah, okay, so, I create a character and I play that character for like, I don't know, 6 months, and then it's time for a new character. I think that's pretty bizarre. I think it's pretty wild. So, Flaming Heron says there's less than a day left for the Frog God Games bundle. Nah, oh well. I think I posted a news piece on the website, if I remember correctly. Worst comes to worst, I'll pop onto Twitter and I'll tweet it out there for folks. So Flaming Heron says, I figure I know where you're going. People get bored and have to change characters up for each game they run. A Great A says, when we were kids, everybody always had 1 or 2 pocket characters that were used in games. Yeah, even different genres. The Madman says, I must enjoy character creation too much. I have 1 or 2 backup characters and all planned out through level 20. Melwinius says, I think the same. RPGs have moved towards DLC like computer games. Yeah, I guess, sort of. So, okay, so here's something else. Okay, we got a little bit of time, right? So I was thinking about this, and I'll make sure that I don't, go off on a complete tangent here. But I know people nowadays talk about how everybody has so little time that, like when I was younger, that people had more time to do things. That nowadays everything is just a rush. Nobody has enough time anymore. And that's reflected in our gaming as well. We see more and more games that come out and they're like, oh yeah, plays in 50 minutes. It's almost like, oh my gosh, we don't want to tell people it could take an hour to play this game. Whereas years ago, we could play a game for 8 hours and it didn't bother us. We were like immersed. Even board games. We could play stuff for hours upon hours. But here's the thing. I don't think people have less time nowadays than they did back in the day. Let's say back in, say, the 80s or 90s. I think people nowadays waste too much time on bullshit. I think that's the big thing. Because in the 80s, 90s, early aughts, you weren't wasting, time on Twitter. You weren't sitting there on Facebook. You didn't go check out something on YouTube and then find yourself an hour and a half later still watching videos that had nothing to do with the video you first looked up at on YouTube. I think that is the problem. I think people are in such a rush nowadays because they screw around and waste so much time on just unimportant bullshit. I really, really do think that is the case. Because I hear, people my age are like, oh, man, we just had so much time before. And it's like, yeah, because we didn't waste it sitting and don't get me wrong. I am online constantly posting stuff for the website, putting news together, doing graphics for the videos. Yes, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. I'm not like trying to portray myself as, oh, poo-poo, I don't watch television. Oh, we don't watch television in this house. Give me a break. Of course. But I think that's a canard. So going back to the role-playing games, I think to myself that how often do people have an opportunity to play role-playing games? So for an example, we know the Madman, he has a weekly game that he plays. I would take a stab in the dark. Game sessions are probably 3 to 4 hours long. And it's every couple of weeks. Maybe he gets the game, every week. When we were younger, we gamed a lot. It in the summertime, and I've talked about this before, in the summertime, it was not unusual for me to be running Call of Cthulhu 4 or 5 days out of 7. And when I'm talking about running Call of Cthulhu, it was for like 8 to 10 hours. And we would take a break to go grab something to eat, you know, right around maybe the 6th, 7th hour. So I kind of think that back in the day, because we would invest so much more time in playing, I think that's one of the reasons why we became really enmeshed in our characters. Plus, probably the fact that we didn't have tons and tons of rules for min-maxing characters and all these different feats and things like that. Or, you know, new books coming out constantly with, oh, here's some new content for players. Well, hey, I want a new character because I want to test this stuff out. We didn't have that kind of stuff. So I think part of it is the reason why people are, you know, just not playing with characters for long periods of time is that all these adventures that come out now are all start off at first level and run to a fairly high level. Very rarely do we actually see adventures come out that are for, oh, this is for, and I'm not talking about from smaller publishers or on like DM's Guild or you know, Drive Through RPG, self-published stuff or small press. I'm talking about, you know, bigger companies. We don't see, oh, this adventure is, you know, it's 120 pages and it's for levels 5 and up. Don't really see that anymore. Everything's always start from scratch, new characters, here you go. Whereas way back in the day, I'll use Dungeons and Dragons as an example. You'd see all the different AD&D modules, and they'd be all over the place. They'd be for 3rd to 6th level, for 12th level and up, you know, things like that. So I don't know. I do find it kind of interesting that people just create new characters a lot, and there are new campaigns all the time. And that kind of swings me back over to Rise of the Drow with the 554 pages. I wonder how many people would actually play through that whole thing. I don't know. I have no idea, because like I said, I reviewed just the original edition of it, and it was packed. It was packed with gaming. So I don't know. All right, let's see what people are saying here on chat, and then we will wrap up. So Flaming Heron says time poor. I would say poor time management, right? Flaming Heron says Dungeon Masters run characters differently now too. I have ones who will run games and level you up to 3rd from the start, and then they're giving levels every couple of games. Yes, because that's kind of how it is. In fact, Rime of the Frost Maiden, and I mentioned this in my review, there really is no discussion of like experience points. It's all at this point, your character should be X level. At this point, your character should be X level. And I thought that was a little weird. It's almost because I always thought that whole level assignment or whatever you want to consider it, I thought that was kind of more optional than actually being, you know, oh, well, this is stamped. This is how you're doing it. Thought it was kind of weird. So Great Ace talking about using the same characters in Star Frontiers and RuneQuest, Top Secret. Flaming Heron says people have more distractions. Yeah, exactly. A Great A mentions the same thing. So the Madman says, at least for me, I have less time because work invades my personal time more than it did years ago. Yeah, well, not even going to get into that. Yeah. So Great A says, do I watch Jeff on the Gaming Gang or read through that Savage World book sitting in my desk? Read the Savage World book. Come on, he spent money on that. All right. So the Madman says his sessions usually run 3 to 5 hours. There we go. And Flaming Heron says, I think people were invested in their characters in some of the games today. You just have throwaway characters. I would think that might, I would think probably another aspect of that, piggybacking on that thought, is that you have too many game masters out there who just won't kill off a character because they're afraid of the player character, or the player, I should say, getting upset. And the reality is, how can your game have any permanency, or how can you provide any kind of sense of tension or consequences if you don't let the characters die from time to time? All right. So a Great A says, I loathe character creation if I have to help people do it. All right. So I am not I've never been a min-maxer. I have always been kind of well, unless I'm playing like a computer role-playing game, then a lot of times you have to min-max stuff. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make it to the end. But yeah, in actual role-playing games, I always look for like kind of an archetype that I'm looking to play. Like fantasy games, I would usually play a paladin-ish character. Once again, as I mentioned, I never play evil characters. All right, that is it for tonight's show. Once again, it should mention a week from tonight, I will be announcing the winner of my copy of Dungeons and Dragons Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. So I will be announcing that. If you check out the review, if you don't already know how you can get in the running, check out my review. I tell you in that. So outside of that, I believe that is it for the show. Now, strangely enough, we hit a certain point where we were kind of seeing hiccups. Ever since that, everything has been smooth sailing. So I don't know what the deal is. Hopefully it's just a hiccup tonight and not something that we're going to see every night like we were for about a week. But was there one other item that I was going to mention? I don't think so. I'll finish up the show and I'll be like, oh, crap, I forgot the... No. All right. Anyway, as I like to remind people, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell. It will notify you not only when the Daily Dope streams live, Monday through Thursday nights, right here on YouTube. It'll also tell you when I upload other videos as well. And if you saw yesterday's show, you know I've got loads of Pathfinder and Starfinder stuff going to be coming your way. So Great A mentioned that Microsoft purchased Bethesda. So a Great A saying they purchased Skyrim. No, they purchased Bethesda. Not really a big deal, in my opinion. Actually, I think it's probably for the best. But yeah, that's not really the gaming gang kind of news that we jump on. Like I said, PC games, we don't talk that much about, and it's usually just to tell you what's out there for free every Thursday. Anyway, if you were watching live, thank you very much for keeping me company as always. And of course, if you don't have an opportunity to watch live, maybe you're even watching on Memorex, I appreciate that as well. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. I will see you tomorrow. And of course, as I sign out on all my videos during this damn pandemic, here's hoping that you be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, click right here. And of course, if you want to see one of the latest episodes of the Daily Dope, click right on up here. And if you want to roll the dice, take your chances, see what YouTube thinks you might like from the channel, give a click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I'll see you next time.